May I request the gathering to kindly stand up and receive the guests and remain standing till the procession is over. Thank you. A very good morning to one and all. I'm Anita Hiranandani, the Registrar of CEPT University. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you to the 12th Convocation of CEPT University. Unfortunately, Dr. Bimal Patel, President of the University, could not make it due to some personal emergency. It is a memorable occasion for us to have amongst us today esteemed Professor Alain Bertaud, as a chief guest. We are greatly honored to have you, sir. On behalf of CEPT, I welcome you, sir. A warm welcome to Shri Kartikeya Sarabhai, respected board member of the university. Shri Sarabhai has always taken a keen personal interest in every aspect of the university and has been a source of encouragement and support to us in all our endeavors. I also welcome Professor A Srivathsan, the academic director of the university, the deans of various faculties, faculty members, members of the administration, and convocating graduates, parents, and guests on this auspicious occasion. Let us declare the 12th convocation open with the lighting of the lamp. May I request the dignitaries on the dais to come forward and light the lamp. CEPT, every institution needs an anthem that reflects its ethos and ideals. It becomes a rallying anchor for its members. CEPT, created by well-known poet Dr. Rajesh Vyas, is beautiful and highly evocative. It has been set to music by Dr. Neena Thakur. May I call upon the choir group to recite the CEPT. Thank you. May I request Professor Shri Vatsan, the Academic Director of the University, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning. It's another beautiful winter day in Ahmedabad. Unfortunately, Dr. Bimal Patel couldn't be here for personal emergency. He has written down his welcome address, and I'm going to read on behalf of him. So let me begin. Friends, we are gathered this morning for the 12th Convocation of CEPT University. The university will confer degrees on students who have completed their programs of study during the academic session 2016-17. It will also confer awards won during that period. On this special occasion, I'm very happy to welcome our chief guest, Professor Alain Bertaud. Professor Batwa is a highly reputed urbanist who is currently a senior research scholar at the Urbanization Project at the Stern School of Business, New York University. He has a lifetime of rich experience in city planning, and he has thought deeply about how cities work and how they should be planned. He has just completed a much-awaited book on urban planning and transport titled Order Without Design. MIT Press will publish this book in summer of 2018. Professor Batwa knows India very well and since very long. He graduated as an architect from Beaux-Arts in Paris in 1967. Soon after working for a while in a private architecture firm, he traveled to India to work in the office of the chief urban planner in Chandigarh, where Corbusier was designing a new city. During that period, he also traveled extensively in India by bicycle. He came all the way down cycling up to Bhopal. His next job was in Algeria in the Ministry of Public Works. Algeria has just become independent then, and since all the French officers had left, young Batwa's professional skills were in high demand, and he was allowed to take decisions that in normal circumstances would only be taken by senior officers. After that, he worked briefly with the renowned architect Philip Johnson in New York. Then, he worked in the New York City Planning Commission. After that, he went to Yemen and worked in the Ministry of Public Works, then in San Salvador in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, and then in Bangkok in the National Housing Authority. Then for 20 years, that's between 1980 and 1999, Professor Batwa was principal urban planner at the World Bank, where he advised local and national governments on urban development policies, mostly in China, Central and Eastern Europe, India, Mexico, Russia, and South Africa. He was also involved in the design and implementation of large land development projects and urban extensions financed by the World Bank. Alain had come to Ahmedabad as a member of a World Bank mission. My colleagues at the Environmental Planning Collaborative, that's BIML's organization, and planners at AMC and Howdah were engaged in liberalizing and modernizing urban planning in the city. Alain was deeply supportive and inspiring. Alain has always been a reflective practitioner in the full sense of the term, a practitioner as well as a researcher. He knows cities from having walked around in them, having lived in them, and having worked on improving them. He has tested his ideas in the real world and carefully observed planning practice. He has thought deeply about why some ideas work and others don't. He has educated himself to learn new concepts and solve conundrums. His insights are not derived only from books and from engaging with students and other academics. This is why he continues to be sought out for advice across the world. Once again, welcome Professor Batwa, and it's a great pleasure to have you with us. It's also my pleasure to welcome Shri Kartikeya Sarabhai. While traditionally our chairman, Sri Sanjay Lalbhai, is the chair for this occasion, due to ill health, he is unable to be present today. Shri Kartikeya Sarabhai, who is a member of our governing council, has graciously agreed to chair this occasion on his behalf. As many of you would know, Kartikeya Sarabhai belongs to the great tradition of philanthropic civic leadership of Ahmedabad. His grandfather, Ambalal Sarabhai, an industrialist, was closely associated with Mahatma Gandhi. His mother was a renowned dancer, and his father, Vikram Sarabhai, was a great scientist and the founder of India's nuclear energy and space programs. Along with Shri Kasturbai Lalbhai, he was also a co-founder of the Indian Institute of Management. Shri Kartikeya V. Sarabhai is the founder director of the Center for Environment Education, CEE, which is next door. Over the last 33 years, Mr. Sarabhai has been a champion for environmental education and sustainable development. He has been a member of several committees. Most notably, he is the UNESCO Chair on Education for Sustainable Development and Human Habitat, set up a CEE in partnership with CEPT University. He's the co-chair of the Global Citizenship Working Group convened by the Brookings Institute. He's also the co-chair of the Earth Charter International Council. He has received many awards and accolades. The Government of India awarded him the Padma Shri in 2012 for service towards environmental education. He's also the recipient of the Olive Green Crusader Award, the C.V. Raman Memorial Award for Popularizing Science, the World Human Rights Promotion Award, and the International Brandwine Medal. Welcome, Mr. Kartikeya. We are very glad to have you with us today. Now let me tell you something about CEPT University. I begin by saying something that you already know. CEPT University continues to be one of the finest institutions focused on architecture, planning, design, construction, and management of habitats. It has the most talented students, very experienced and dedicated teachers, a highly committed and hardworking administration, a lovely campus, and many cherished traditions and a bright future. The future is particularly bright because all of us are continuing to improve the university in many different ways. I'm not going to list all the improvements that you can expect to see. If I did, that would take a very long time. I would like to tell you about a few of the most important improvements. First, let me begin with the academics. Studios. Studios are key to design education, and CEPT has always emphasized studio-based learning. Last semester, we reviewed studio education in the undergraduate design programs in CEPT, in architecture, interior design, and urban design, and decided upon a number of improvements. These improvements have been first implemented in the second and third years. Studios now constituted a much larger portion of the curriculum. There are also smaller, 12 to 15 students with 1 or 2 faculty members. This structure helps emphasize mentorship and coaching by studio tutors. Soon, the same will be true for the 4th and 5th year of the UG programs. The foundation program. In July last year, we also started reviewing and revamping the foundation programs in 3 undergraduate design programs. Each of them took a slightly different approach. Recently, a specially constituted Board of Review reviewed all these programs. After the review, the board has recommended that the 3 programs be merged into a consolidated foundation program, which combines the strength of each of these programs. We are hoping to implement this starting July. Teaching and Learning Center. Another key initiative is the setting up of the Teaching Learning Center, similar to ones that exist in all globally leading universities. The Teaching Learning Center at CEPT will primarily look at 3 things. 1, facilitate preparation for studio units and courses and oversee the registration and so on. 2, support newer faculty members to get ready for teaching. 3, set benchmarks and assess new pedagogic initiatives against the stated objectives to ensure continual ratcheting up of academic standards. 4th point that I want to mention here is the integrated master's program. In new programs, we are considering the introduction of integrated master's programs from academic year 2019. This will allow students to complete UG and program in 6 years with a 1-year period of internship in the 4th year. Details of these programs are being worked out and will be announced soon. Transport management. This year, we will be starting a new PG program in transportation management. This will be a first-of-its-kind program for in-service professionals engaged in urban transport sector. The program is currently being developed by our Center for Excellence in Urban Transport, and it will be hosted in the Faculty of Management. Master's programs. Over the coming year or 2, we'll also be restructuring the present MArch program into 3 separate programs focused on architectural design, conservation, and history and theory of architecture. Similarly, the M-Plan programs will be restructured into 4 streams: urban planning, urban transport, urban housing, and urban infrastructure. Scholarships. As you know, at CEPT, we strive to ensure that meritorious students are able to afford an education year, regardless of their financial standing. This year, we have budgeted rupees 5 crores towards student financial aid. This is not enough. Alongside our budgetary allocation, our student scholarship fund provides its additional resources to ensure this. I'm very thankful to Messrs. PSP Projects and Amaya Properties for their notable contribution to the Student Scholarship Fund last year. I hope many more individuals and corporate donors will consider contributing to this fund. Now I'll move on to infrastructure. As many of you know already, we completed 2 major buildings last year, the Leelavati Lalbai Library just behind us and the recently inaugurated CEPT workshop buildings. These facilities have given us 4,000 square meters of new space and freed up 1,350 square meters of existing space, which is now put to other academic uses. The canteen has also been recently completed, and with this, phase 1 of our master plan is complete. Soon, we will be starting construction on the new academic building, which is coming up just north of the canteen, just down there. This will bring a new high-capacity auditorium and many classrooms and seminar rooms for use by the entire university. We have just received confirmation from our Board of Management to commence design of the new Faculty of Technology building, which will be located to the east of the present FT building, just diagonally behind us. This will be named facility, supported through a contribution of rupees 6 crores from Symphony. We are thankful to Mr. Achal Bakeri and the Bakeri family for their continued support of the CEPT University. The Faculty of Architecture building is in need of significant structural repairs and improvements. The study has been completed, and we are commencing the repair work starting this summer. It will be done in 2 phases between this year and next year. We welcome contributions from alumni to support the effort of conserving this architectural masterpiece. CEPT campus has a long history and comprises buildings that have undisputably strong heritage value and some that merit a deeper review. Hence, we have initiated an assessment of the heritage value of various buildings and other aspects of the CEPT campus. Dr. Jigna Desai, member of the Faculty of Architecture, head of the UG programs, and also the area chair of conservation, will lead this. Dr. Desai is also a member of the technical committee of ICOMOS, which is International Council on Monuments and Sites. I'll move on to continuing education and for professionals. As India continues to move forward on the path of urbanization, many professionals will need continuing education to address emerging challenges. CEPT has already been successfully conducting many education programs for professionals. More recently, we have set up the Center for Professional Development to consolidate our efforts providing high-quality continuing education programs. Last week, we kicked off a program for providing specialized training to professionals from 100 cities across India. These professionals will be trained to better manage peripheral expansion and in-city redevelopment of cities. This is part of a 2-year program in collaboration with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India. One last point. Very soon, you're all going to be newly minted alums of the university. Our new alumni office has put together a welcome package for you with an alumni card and a token that reminds you of this day. As you go out, over the next few years, there may be many instances when you need support of the university, or you need some old document, or you would like to connect with someone in a new city, etc. Please do not hesitate to reach out to the alumni office for any kind of help. Also, as and when time permits, please come back and share your experience with other students. Finally, before I return to the program at hand, I want to remind all of us that without the hard work of the faculty members, both permanent and visiting, and the staff of the CEPT University, none of the developments that I'm talking about would have been possible. I sincerely thank all our faculty members. I'm sure that all the students also want to. A round of applause is in order. This morning, a total of 537 students will receive their degrees. Many awards will be conferred. On behalf of my colleagues, deans, faculty members, staff, and myself, I congratulate all those receiving degrees and awards. All of us wish you all the very best in life and hope that you will make the most of the opportunities it presents. In doing so, you will make us proud. We also hope that you will stay in touch and keep coming back to your alma mater. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request our board member, Shri Kartikeya Sarabhai, to address the gathering.
Graduating students, deans, faculty, staff members, our chief guest for the day, Mr. Bertaud, members of the council and the board, parents, family members, guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite moving for me to be here, having witnessed in many ways the history of this institute. I can't but say about how B.V. Doshi, Rasubhai Vakil, Bernard Cohn, Hasmukh Patel, Sukumar Parikh, and several others have contributed to the very foundation that we have built on. The Ahmedabad Education Society, with its really foresight of having an educational part of the city, Kasturbai's leadership, Shranikbhai, and today Sanjay Bhai, who we miss today, have endeavored to really have excellence available in Ahmedabad. I have the good fortune, when I was putting this list together, of realizing that I've worked with almost all of them. And that made me feel this sense of history as we go forward. We are living in an extremely rapidly changing world. I was just thinking that when this institute was formed in '62, when the School of Architecture was formed, the population of the planet was 3 billion. It had taken 123 years to go from 2 billion to 3 billion. So that was the time, and it had taken millions of years before that to reach that first billion. And today, in just the time it has taken to have this institute, we are at 7.6 billion. So just look at the condensation of time where you were talking about 100 years, 150 years before you reached a billion, and now in a matter from 1960 to now, you've not only done this, but you've doubled. And urbanization has been even faster. You had, in 1960, we had roughly a third of the population, 1 billion, who were urban. Today, it is about 55% of 4 billion people. So just think that the amount of urban people today is more than the total population of the whole planet when this institute was formed. And it is that type of time frame in which we have to plan, we have to live, and you have to accept the challenges. But while we say that, the population is only one side of this thing. The consumption levels have grown up even faster. Today, there's a calculation made as to what would happen if all of us could somehow get a lifestyle like the US. And the calculation is that you would need roughly 4 planets to be able to live that way. So you as students going out into the world today as planners have a very different mandate, very different challenge before you, which is that you cannot actually follow what's behind you. You cannot look to the West anymore and say that is where the solutions are. The solutions are somewhere which is not known. You have to innovate. And in this institute where you have all this opportunity to innovate, and as was told by Professor Srivathsan, as you go forward, learning is going to be a continuous affair. This is, of course, one milestone, but the Alumni Association may in a few years not be called alumni, but called the Continuing Learning Association or Center, because things are changing very, very rapidly. Ahmedabad is proud to have been declared the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Our old city, which we all talk about, is unique. And those who have been here during the last few weeks of Uttarayan and everything else and gone into it have seen how unique it is. It's a blend of several architectural styles, even the Hindu and the Muslim styles that they came together here. Even the new architects who came from abroad, Louis Kahn and various others, have adapted methodology and techniques of brick, for instance, in doing their arches in Ahmedabad. But at that same time, I asked sometimes friends of mine from the School of Architecture, how much of that old city which we so proudly talk about in the world can you build with the present bylaws? And they say, of course, we cannot do that. Most of those things are not part of our learning. And so you wonder, how is it that you on the one hand, glorify an old city for its concepts, and at the same time, you develop laws under which you cannot actually build anything vaguely like that. And it's not only those, but even the laws relating to universities like ourselves. There's been a great thrust among the Board of Management of this institute to take this institute to the best in the world. Not just best in India, but the best in the world. We have the faculty, we have the ideas, we have the campus, but we don't necessarily have the permissions to be able to do all that we like. And it's those regulatory frameworks, whether it's regulations related to planning, architecture, or running a school of architecture, is something which we must look at. Because some of these things have come from history, they've come from Britain, they've come from other places, which had a very different problem in front of them, and they've come at an age when the population and consumption levels are totally different. So today the challenge before all of you students is to look at ways in which water will have. Is an architecture student a student of architecture, or are they also students of transport? Are they also students of energy? Are they also students of water? Are they also students of heritage, of greenery and plantation? Are these disciplines? How valid are the disciplines? And how much do we need to learn from each other? And this is a campus where you have the opportunity of going and meeting with each other. So it's these challenges which I hope all of you will go. I've tried to calculate at one stage that each student who graduates will end up putting how many bags of cement, bricks, and steel on this planet. And it's a lot. If you were to think of a person going on a plane and dropping all of this on the planet, this is what you are in fact going to do. So how you lay each brick, please be careful. This world needs to be sustainable. We have the opportunity, and just as we have a challenge, we have an opportunity. And you're coming out from one of the best schools there is. You've been given the inputs. You've got an invitation for permanently coming back to the institute, and I wish you really well. On behalf of myself and the Board of Governors and the Governing Council, do well in the world, make it more sustainable, and let us learn from you. Come back and teach new students as they come up, because the challenge before us is very different from what our past has been. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your stimulating and encouraging speech. May I now request our chief guest, Mr. Bertaud, to please address the gathering.
It is a great honor to have been invited to this ceremony. It is also a great pleasure for me to come back to India periodically, and in particular to Ahmedabad. I think that Mr. Sarabhai has introduced extremely well the challenge which is facing you all when you are going to enter the profession now. You will be responsible for the final phase of urbanization that Mr. Sarabhai, I think, I will put into the historical context. It's a huge task. I hope that, I am certain that because of the education you get at CEPT, you will be able to fulfill this task. You have the skill to fulfill this task. The real question is, will your ideas be implemented? You know, the challenge of the planning profession, and also for architects, is to go from ideas to plan, and from plan to action on the ground. The final product of our work is not a plan, and here I'm speaking especially for urban planners. The end product is not a plan, is not a report. The end product is change on the ground. Too often, I found that urban planners are a little in despair. They produce plans, and they are frustrated because those plans are not implemented. And they don't feel any responsibility for the lack of implementation. They either accuse politicians or having no political will, or speculators of contradicting their plan. I think that they should take responsibility for what is happening. It is their responsibility not only to produce plans, but to convince other people that their ideas are sound. I don't believe that people are evil. I believe that a lot of people are ignorant, and this is why they take bad decisions. I will, if you allow me, I will even quote Napoleon on that. Napoleon knew a lot about conspiracy himself. One day said, when something goes wrong, it's 99% ignorance and incompetence and 1% conspiracy or malevolence. And so our job is not only to have good ideas and imagination. Our job is not to produce sound report. Our job is to convince people who are from a different profession, who have maybe a different language. If you work internationally, somebody who speaks different language, a different culture, your job is to convince them so that they will improve the way cities are developed. The challenge is huge because when I see you young people here, I see that when you retire, you see, you just graduate, I'm talking about retirement. When you retire, urbanization in the world will have completed. You know, a major stage in the history of humanity will have been completed. But if we miss our goal, if we mess up this urbanization, and in a way Mr. Sarabhai hinted that this could happen in terms of environment, this will be a complete disaster for humanity. So your responsibility is enormous. And again, your responsibility is to getting change on the ground. I know the tendency of people who have a technical education to say, well, we have made calculation, we have made projection, and we know what we are doing, and we are trying to convince administrators or politicians who finally take the final decision, and where in fact they don't quite understand the fact. I think that we should be clear that the role of technician and the role of politician are very different, but both of them are indispensable. As technician, you cannot take decision for the entire people. You have the luck here in India to live in a democracy, which is not the case all over the world, and you should respect that. Political decisions are different from technical decisions. Why? Science can help you to predict what will happen if you do something. For instance, you can say, if we build roads, we will open that many square kilometers of land for urbanization. And you could probably predict how many people are going to live there in this new urban area. You can also say, if we build a green belt, then the city could not expand, and therefore the people are going to consume less land, and density will increase. So this is scientific in a way, or should be based on science. However, the final decision, what is good and what is bad, is never given by science. Science can only tell you, if you do that, this is going to happen. Science has no way to decide what is good or bad. I will take the example of the atomic bomb. The scientists who work on nuclear energy were extremely skilled, extremely knowledgeable. The decision to use nuclear energy for peace or for war is a political decision. No scientist could take this decision. And it is our responsibility as citizens, of course, to elect politicians who reflect our values, but do not confuse science and politics, and respect the politician, even if some of them, maybe, and living in the US, I know what I'm talking about, do not appear quite respectable. So our duty as citizen is to influence the system, but as citizen, it is very different. As urban planner, you are still subject to the decision of the politician, because the politician, establish priorities. Science cannot establish priorities. For instance, a country like China deliberately decided that lifting millions of people out of poverty had a priority over taking care of the environment. Whether it was a good decision or not, we don't quite know. But it was a political decision. It was a priority. Eventually now, they are putting much more emphasis on the environment. They realize that, but the sequence was important. And you could argue that maybe they took the right decision. That, the Chinese, for instance, used to say, when we talk about global warming, they say, it's important for us to become rich before it becomes warm. And so you see, this is a type of strategy which may be wrong, but that only politicians can take, because no science can give you those things. I want then to have just a look at urbanization, let's say, in the next phase of this century. Most of my job, all my job, during my long career, has been to deal with expanding cities. And the main challenge was, if a city grew at 3% a year, for instance, how to find enough land, how to build enough sewer, how to find enough water in order to provide to those new inhabitants. at a certain point, some cities will stop growing, and some even will shrink. Others will grow enormously. For the first time I was aware of that, about 12 years ago, I was a consultant for the Russian government, and it's a standard job, the development of Moscow and St. Petersburg. And then the Ministry of Planning approached me and said, could you help us on a very different subject? We are going to close 50 cities. Could you help us to do that? And I said, I've never done that. I didn't even know that you could close cities. And this, of course, comes from the demography of Russia, but not only that. Because of globalization, cities which have a good access to the global world are developing fast, and cities which have not found a role, which only role was to service agricultural area, those cities sometimes have lost their labor market. They have lost their employment possibility. So the fact that they have a large stock of housing, that they have, in the case of Russia, very often now a very decent infrastructure housing stock, if they do not have job, these have no value at all. Now, you will say again, Russia is an extreme example. Then I worked briefly in Japan in a town of about 1 million people called Toyama. And I see that on the sidewalks are divided into 3 lanes. One is for pedestrian, one is for bicycle, and one is for wheelchairs. And so Japan again is at the beginning, but in Korea soon, and soon in China, we will have the same phenomenon. Decreasing fertility, and some cities will lose their raison d'etre. Now, on the other hand, China right now is planning clusters of cities, not anymore cities growing radioconcentrically, but clusters of cities that are being planned for 120, 130 million people. So this is a conurbation which will link a labor market of 120 million people. And we do not have, by the way, the means of transportation, of urban transport, which could cater to this type of urbanization. I have no idea how it could work, but I could see why it will happen. Again, what explained that is the labor market. A very large labor market like that will be much more efficient than many smaller ones which are distant from each other. This is a law of economics. So in a way, the Chinese, by the way, when they do that, they didn't decide, let us do clusters of 120 million. They already have those clusters. The Pearl River Delta, in the south of China, Hong Kong, Guangzhou, is already 65 million people. More and more, what were isolated cities, but close together, are becoming integrated in one big urban form. Again, here, we know this is coming, but we don't really know how to service that. A bit like, at the end of the 19th century, when they were, the main means of transport in urban were horse carts, and people were very worried, how are we going to handle new urbanization? So we are a bit at this stage now. All this, by the way, Delhi, is becoming a cluster. Delhi anymore do not have the shape of a traditional city, monocentric with, a center and then suburbs and expanding. Delhi now is a cluster of of cities. And you will see, all of you know, the transport problem that Delhi is facing, because this form of urbanization was never known before, and we don't know really how to handle it. However, again, Delhi has grown like that, not because planners decided, let us do a cluster. It has grown like that because of the economic efficiency of connecting a lot of very educated people and productive people together. And the larger is this group of people, the more productive, inventive they are. Now, I will conclude my talk by saying, look, you had here in CEPT a wonderful education. You have acquired a lot of skill, probably more than a lot of other planners in the world. However, when you tackle a new problem, do not be overconfident. What CEPT education gave you was the ability to solve problems. They didn't give you a recipe, a thing, models that you can transfer. You didn't learn models that you can transfer anywhere. Your ability is to solve problems. So when you tackle a new job in your profession, if you feel slightly incompetent, this is very good. This is very good. If you feel overconfident, if you say, this is easy, I know how to do it, this is not good. Now, I'm not telling you, when you go to your first job interview, to tell your employer, I feel slightly incompetent. Don't say that. But in the back of your mind, as soon as you start working, remember that. Feel slightly incompetent. Feel that you have to know better, that you have to solve problems, not just transfer ideas that you learned somewhere and put it again. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being there with you.
Thank you, Professor, for your motivating speech to our young graduates. May I now invite Shri Kartikeya to present the degrees to the graduating students from doctoral program. Sir. And Professor Rutul Joshi, Head of Doctoral Office, to announce the names of the students.
The Chairman and members of the Board of Management of CEPT University, on the nomination of the Executive Council, have conferred upon the following students the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. First, Ms. Ritu Gulati. Ms. Ushma Anera. Ms. Mitali Saxena. Ms. Anil Shah. Ms. Vidisha Vijay Kumar. Ms. Shweta Rajpurohit. Ms. Rashmi Menon. Mr. Himanshu Burte. Ms. Neeru Bansal. Ms. Devyani Gangopadhyay. Ms. Kalika Bansal. Ms. Aparna. Ms. Shalini Sinha. Ms. Nitika Bhakuni. Mr. Abhijit Lokre. Ms. Jigna Desai. Mr. Praful Gharpure. Ms. Bindi Dave. Ms. Janki Shah. Ms. Jaggu Shaini Palchaudhary. Ms. Kiran Keshwani. Ms. Shreya Majumdar. And then there are 3 students in absentia, Ms. Sonal Bakshi, Ms. Seema Kumar, Ms. Jallavi Panchamia. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Collective conferment of postgraduate degrees. May I request all the master's graduates to please stand up. The chairman and members of the Board of Management of the CEPT University, on the nomination of the Executive Council, have conferred upon the students their respective degree. On behalf of the board, I offer my congratulations to you all. You have now become the graduates of CEPT University. You may now be seated. Thank you. May I request all the bachelor's graduates to please stand up. The chairman and the members of the Board of Management of the CEPT University, on the nomination of the Executive Council, have conferred upon the students their respective bachelor's degree. On behalf of the board, I offer my congratulations to all. You have now become the graduates of CEPT University. You may now be seated. Award of Proficiency, the University Level Awards. The awards acknowledge the tremendous achievements of the students across the whole spectrum of education at CEPT. It's not confined to academic achievements, but encompasses the whole range of activities that make for a rounded and balanced education. May I request our chief guest to present the award to these outstanding students. Faculty of Architecture, Bachelor of Architecture, the Academic Excellence Award and the Best Thesis Award, Ms. Naksha S. Distinguished Student Award, Ms. Parik Krishna Nirav. Master of Architecture, Academic Excellence Award goes to Mr. Sebastian Torres. Best Thesis Award, Mr. George Thatchell. Distinguished Student Award, Mr. Yagnik Kumar Bhattijia. Master of Landscape Architecture. The Academic Excellence Award goes to Ms. Shalini P. Best Thesis Award, Mr. Ankit Kumar Kalantri. Distinguished Student Award, Ms. Vinitra V. Faculty of Planning, Bachelor of Planning. The Academic Excellence Award goes to Ms. Charmi Shah. Best Thesis Award, Shruti Punjabi. Distinguished Student Award, Yash Javeri. Master of Urban and Regional Planning. Academic Excellence Award, Mr. Nautiyal Anuj. Best Thesis Award, Prachi Bandal. Distinguished Student Award, N. Abhilasha. Faculty of Technology, the Bachelor of Technology Honors Civil Construction, the Best Academic Award, Academic Excellence and Distinguished Student Award goes to Amol Shah. Best Thesis Award, Jinal Mistry. Master of Technology, Construction, Engineering and Management. The Academic Excellence Award and Best Thesis Award goes to Karan Patel. The Distinguished Student Award goes to Jay Mewara. Master of Technology, Engineering Design. The Academic Excellence Award goes to Jeet Upadhyay. Best Thesis Award, Abhay Chopre. Distinguished Student Award, Darshil Shah. Master of Technology, Geomatics. The Academic Excellence Award goes to Murugan Bhatt. The Best Thesis Award, Jay Chandra Ravi. Distinguished Student Award, Gare Khan Dwalin Nath. Master of Technology, Building Energy Performance. The Academic Excellence Award, Jaideep Badra. Best Thesis Award, Devna Vyas. Distinguished Student Award, Darini S. Faculty of Design, Bachelor of Interior Design. The Academic Excellence Award, Shaili Kastia. Best Thesis Award, Mr. Nanda Kumar. Distinguished Student Award, Devanshi Doshi. Master of Interior Architecture and Design. The Academic Excellence Award goes to Mr. Ram Prasad. The Best Thesis Award goes to International Master of Interior Architectural Design student, Monisha Edwina. The Distinguished Student Award goes to Harsh Bhavsar. Master of Design, Furniture Design. The Academic Excellence Award and the Best Thesis Award goes to Mr. Nikhil Dayanand. Distinguished Student Award, Ms. Poonam Rathore. Faculty of Management, Master of Habitat Management. The Academic Excellence Award goes to Nilesh Prajapati. Best Thesis Award, Anush Nath. Distinguished Student Award, Mr. Mayank Sarabhai. Thank you, sir. With this, we have completed the first part of our convocation ceremony. On behalf of everyone at CEPT University, I cheer all the students who have graduated today and the award winners. We wish you all a successful and challenging years ahead. A word of appreciation for members of the faculty and administration and student volunteers, without whose efforts the ceremony today would not have been a great success.